Well, Razorback fans, hopefully you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving and you thought I would miss out in completing the series. It's got to happen. Today's podcast, why I hate the Missouri Tigers. We'll talk about in today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors. I am also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we'll talk a little bit about Thanksgiving, what it means, and we will get to Razorback basketball because that honestly might be pretty heavy on the minds of Razorback fans taking a loss yesterday to Illinois and Kansas City, and we'll get to that. But it's just time, it's time. You got to keep the tradition going up, and I think this is one that some of you have reached out to me and talked about how much you're looking forward to it each and every time, and this one should be a pretty easy one. Why I hate the Missouri Tigers. Now, because Missouri fans are usually pretty dumb, they have been jumping into my mentions already this week. Folks, when you see this title of the podcast and what I'm talking about, you're not special. I do this for every SEC team that Arkansas plays. You're not special, so just handle it. But can't wait to appreciate and to respect all the comments that you're going to throw my way. But here's the thing about the Arkansas-Missouri dynamic, the Battle Line Rivalry trophy. I mean, I'm going to go through a lot of reasons why I hate Missouri because they are very hateable and they're very easy to hate. But I got to start with kind of the origin of it all. One of the reasons I hate Missouri is because of the circumstance of Arkansas and Missouri playing each other every year. Now, back in 2013, 2014, whenever the SEC decided to expand and they decided to bring on Texas A&M and Missouri, I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I did not like Texas A&M. I did not like Missouri. I felt like they were going to water down the conference, and I just did not like them joining. Well, I didn't have a say in the matter, and when they joined, it ended up being, it's okay, I guess. Still not liking it, but it wasn't as bad as what I thought. Until there was this thing called the Battle of the Golden Boot that happened each and every year at the end of the season where Arkansas and LSU played each other. I wouldn't say it was one of the great college football rivalries, but it was certainly a fun game. A game that Razorback fans enjoyed and LSU fans only enjoyed when they won, but still something that would have been established and something that had been around for close to 20 years, being pretty consistent. Well, because the SEC is the SEC, and LSU did not want to play that game anymore, they decided to give LSU and Texas A&M the game at the end of the season. Because Texas couldn't play Texas A&M. They didn't want to, at least. And I felt like Jeff Long, at the time, the athletic director, I don't have evidence of this, but I felt like he didn't fight hard enough. Either way, it didn't matter because Arkansas was left without a game at the end of the season. So what'd they get? They got Missouri. It's like being in grade school and you're sitting there in class, and the teacher says, all right, everybody pair up. And during that time, you're at the bathroom, and you come back, and you're like, oh, crap. Wait, everyone's paired up? Who am I with? Oh, you get the stinky kid over here that no one wanted to partner with because he's lazy, doesn't do any work, he doesn't add any value, and he smells bad. Great. That's how Razorback fans felt. They didn't want Missouri. Nobody wants Missouri. But they got paired up with them anyways. So already the forced deal was a little bit annoying. But then it really got turned up to an 11 whenever, as soon as the game got announced, boom, it's got a name. It's called the Battle Line Rival. Okay. And then bang, it's already got a trophy. It's just the two states stacked on top of each other, similar to Golden Boot. Okay. And then bang, it gets a sponsorship by Shelter Insurance. The Battle Line Rivalry Trophy, sponsored by Shelter Insurance. Everything was forced about it. Nobody wanted this marriage. Nobody wanted it. And you could say, well, hey, that's why Arkansas has lost to him as many times as they have. And you know what? Maybe you're right. But it doesn't change the fact that nobody wanted this. But Arkansas got forced into it. So already off to a bad start. You don't ever want to be with somebody you don't want to dance with somebody that you don't want to dance with. But when you get forced to, it just ruins your mood. It ruins your vibe. It just doesn't give you the same fun and excitement that it once did. Now, on top of all of that, I think there's no doubt about it that one of the reasons why I hate Missouri is because, now, hold on to y'all's corncob pipe, you Missouri fans, because as I said, I guess was it last summer at SEC Media Days, that they decided to put me in the hype video for it. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, because they're lame. And if you're going for a local podcaster to put in your hype video, man, you guys are stretching. But still, one of the things that has happened is Arkansas has lost to Missouri more often than not, especially when joining the SEC. Arkansas has only beaten Missouri twice since they've joined the SEC, 2015 and, of course, in 2021. They've never won up in Columbia. Missouri has beaten Arkansas 11 times, and Arkansas has only won 4 times. So, yeah, pretty frustrating to see that and frustrating to have that. But so many times in those years that Arkansas played Missouri, Arkansas felt like they were a better team overall. And when Arkansas went into that game at the end of the season, you could say it was because they weren't taking them seriously. You could say it was just bad coaching. You could say whatever. But Arkansas would lose those games. I think a great example of that was in 2016. Arkansas really was the beginning of the end for the demise of Brett Bielema. Arkansas went up against an 0-7 Missouri team. Arkansas was a better team, and they blew a big lead and lost. Plain and simple. 2017, Missouri was better because Arkansas had mailed it in. 2018, 2019, everybody was better than Arkansas because Chad Morris was trash. 2020, I felt like Arkansas was the better team in that game, but due to Felipe Franks not being able to play because of the whole COVID thing, it was a pretty epic game. Arkansas did win in 2021, and then in 2022, Arkansas was the better team in that season. But once again, just like they did a lot of times that year, they failed. They got in their own way and ended up losing the game by 2. And so I'm not saying that every game that Arkansas and Missouri have played, that Arkansas has been a better team. That's not what I'm saying. And that's what those stupid Missouri fans don't understand, which is hilarious to me that they don't comprehend that. But it's been frustrating that there's been times Arkansas should have beaten Missouri, but they just haven't. Plain and simple. But last year when Arkansas lost to Missouri, who was the better team? Missouri. And so they won. And that's what's going to make this game really interesting, because I think both teams are kind of on the even playing field, at least. So we'll see about that. Now, I gave you some pretty basic reasons, some pretty generic reasons. Well, it gets to the core reason of why I hate Missouri, and it is one Eli Drinkwitz, the head coach there. Now, I understand Eli Drinkwitz's shtick. He's a troll. Kind of looks like one, too. But he likes to just stir things up, and it's not just with Arkansas. He does it pretty often. He's become the heel of the SEC, and he embraces it. I will never understand why. Sometimes I felt like just being a good coach is the way to go, but not for him. Yeah, he's got to be weird about it. So it's all been with him, really starting when the whole deal with it was Florida and Missouri. And it was when that fight broke out at the end of the game, and there's a lot of weirdness to it, but Florida won. And Dan Mullen, it was on Halloween, and Dan Mullen in the press conference dressed as Darth Vader on the Zoom. And everyone's like, really? You're doing this after that big fight and the big ending and all that? Well, then Eli Drinkwitz responded with, jackassery breeds jackassery, and he's being a jackass, blah, 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 blah. I was like, at the time I was like, okay, whatever. You can feel that way. It was a little weird. But then just after that, it kept going and going and going. The next year when Missouri beat Florida, he put his little hood on and had his little lightsaber. It was like, may the force be with you. And then did all that. And I'm like, dude, that's lame, because aren't you kind of being the jackass that you said you weren't trying to be? And then they kept adding things into it where you had, I'm trying to remember which exact, I guess it was last season. Yeah, like Missouri was having a pretty good year. Because here's the thing, last season was the first winning season they had under Drinkwitz. Like, he never had a winning season up until then. And this year, they're sitting with, 8 wins. They're 8-3. And they had the easiest schedule known to man. So it's kind of funny that even though they have a winning record, they're still not like a great team. But it was last year when they beat Tennessee, and he goes up to Josh Heupel. We stand on business, Josh, shakes him at that, and then runs away like a coward, because he is. He's all talk. So he does that. He did this year where he was, I'm sure a lot of you saw it, where I wish I could play the clip, but was mouthing when they beat Mississippi State. And they were on the goal line, and the game was over, but he was yelling, hey, Mississippi State. if you don't shut the F up, then I'm going to score again. And it's like, dude, you are the worst. Like, you are a troll. It's your shtick. That's what you want. That's fine. Go ahead, knock yourself out. But the dude is very unlikable. And it's not just by Arkansas. It's by a lot of other teams. He loves to troll. And he kind of reminds me of like a mixture of that Jason Brown guy from Last Chance U with, I guess not as many F-bombs, but with that, and a guy that he's overcompensating for something. He gives us, whether it's little man syndrome or what, but he's just a guy that he's like, I can't get the attention of people by just winning. I have to get the attention of people by being a douche canoe. And he's doing a great job at it. So that's really the main reason why I hate Missouri. Like, I didn't hate Missouri when Gary Pinkel was there. I didn't hate Missouri when Barry Odom was there. That's another reason. I felt like they fired Barry Odom a little too soon. And Barry Odom's a good dude. But like, I just don't care for them. And Eli Drinkwitz has been the main reason. Now, this game between Arkansas and Missouri on Saturday, is Arkansas going to win? I don't know. I mean, probably not. I'm not going to pick them just because Arkansas doesn't win up there in Columbia. They don't beat Missouri very often. But if they do win, it'll be nice. It'll be nice to finally get that off your back to, a school like Missouri, a school that is, has some ups and downs, and I guess they're a decent enough program, but still just no one really takes them too seriously. And that's been Arkansas's problem. They got to start taking them a little bit more seriously. So we'll see what happens in that game. If Arkansas wins, it'll be nice just to have a trophy back here in Fayetteville. But if they don't, then I'm sure Eli Drinkwitz will do douchebag things, because he said it. He said it himself. Jackassery breeds jackassery, and there's no bigger jackass than Eli Drinkwitz and the Missouri Tigers. I could have gone on and on. But, folks, those are the main reasons why I hate the Missouri Tigers. Be nice if Arkansas could finally beat them. We'll see. We'll get to the basketball team, though, because that's no whole other thing that we got to talk about on the other side of the break. So stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, I got to tell you about the Game Time app. I know a lot of you are going to be going to a lot of sporting events during this time of year. You got football going on, you got basketball going on, you also have concerts going on. You got a lot of shows that you want to see. All these things require tickets. Well, luckily for you, your ticket buying solutions are here, because with the Game Time app, you can be able to go into the app, and it's very easy to use, very user-friendly, and you can get some of the best deals with the lowest price guarantee, where if you find it some cheaper somewhere else, they will give you 110% of the difference. You can also get a panoramic view of your entire area before you buy your ticket, so that way you know where you're sitting and what the view is going to look like. And my favorite thing is toggling the all-in pricing feature, because when you do that, that's something to where you get rid of all the stuff of like, okay, well, hey, this is a great deal, and then boom, 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 you go through 3 steps, and you're paying double what you were paying before. That gets rid of that. You get to see the prices all up front, guaranteed. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time picks. Download the Game Time app and create an account and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Well, it's game time. All right, so moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Man, oh man, that basketball team in this basketball game against Illinois. I didn't expect Arkansas to win the game. I was hopeful, but they just couldn't get it done. 90-77 was the final score. Illinois gets the victory up in Kansas City. And really the first time this season, I know Arkansas hasn't looked great at times, but this was the first time that the defense was just poo-poo. Illinois scored 90 points. They went 15 of 31 from 3. 15 3-pointers. They just could not miss, and Arkansas wasn't doing a very good job of guarding them either. But just atrocious there on a 3-point defense. You saw that, and the battle of the Big Z. I guess is him and his twin brother. Not his twin brother. He's just his brother. But his brother definitely did great. 21 points, 6 of 9 from 3-point land, with 10 rebounds, just killing it. 2 assists. Dude was a monster. And just that he was one of many reasons why Arkansas just couldn't get anything going. But they were great offensively. Arkansas was down 11 points. I think it was 11-0 to start the game, and they really never even got close again. I think the closest they got at that point was 9 points. But just bad basketball. They showed some heart. They fought a little bit at the end. But there were just a few things that really stood out. Number one was just the 3-point percentage. You went 5 of 17. I mean, shooting 29% ain't great. But it's not like we've expected that. Well, it was disappointing to see them go 16 of 27 from the free throw line. That's 59%. This team's done really good at the free throw line. That was very uncharacteristic, especially because Adu Thiero, he had 26 points. The dude's incredible. He shot 21 free throws. He was, of the 27 free throw shot, 21 of them came from Adu Thiero. He only hit 12. So, I mean, that was really killer for Arkansas. But you had him with 26 points. Big Z actually played fairly well offensively, got 13 points, 3 of 6 from 3, had 6 rebounds in this one as well. And you had some other guys that kind of did some things, but like, DJ Wagner went 4 of 9 with 8 points. Billy Richmond, actually, I really liked Billy Richmond. And I remember people getting on to me for this, being like, oh, what do you see from him? Dude, Billy Richmond, when he's gotten in, I've liked what I've seen. He played 31 minutes in this game, got 12 points, 6 of 9 from the field. Also got 4 rebounds and only 1 turnover. So I want to see more Billy Richmond. The dude's been at least earning his keep and earning his minutes. I don't know how much we're going to see from him, but you got to see a little bit more of Jonas Adu. He only played 11 minutes, but did get 2 points, 3 rebounds. It's good to see him back into the mix. I don't know, what's the timeline for him as far as when he's going to be 100%, if he'll ever be 100%, but it was good to see him get back into the mix. Trevin Brazile also had him and Big Z both had early fouls. But Brazil made both of his shots, made one of the threes. He had 5 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Only played 7 minutes in this game, too. So, but Boogie Flan definitely did not have a Boogie Flan game. 8 points for him. He went 2 of 12 from the field, 4 or 5 from free throw line, had 4 rebounds, only 1 assist, 2 turnovers. So definitely not the best game by Boogie Flan in that regard. But the real disappointment, and it continues to be the disappointment at times, is Nelly Davis. Nelly Davis had 3 points. He shot the ball 3 times. He went 1 of 3, 1 of 2 from 3. He did have 6 assists, which was good to see, and only 2 rebounds. But it's just, I don't know what's going on here. Like, he has been, and I hate to even bring up the word disappointment, because there's still, what are you now? Like only 5-6 games into the season. So there's still a lot of time to turn it around, but there's no doubt that he has been, like, I don't understand. I understand that he's had some bad shooting nights. It happens. But to only shoot the ball 3 times? You're freaking Nelly Davis, my man. Like, you were averaging 20 points a game last year. You were the biggest pickup in the transfer portal. You're supposed to be an offensive dude, and you shot the ball 3 times? Now, that could be a Calipari issue. That could be just him type of issue. Is it a team issue? Like, there could be a lot of things into it, but man, how do you only shoot the ball 3 times and you play 32 minutes? That just can't happen from the guy that's supposed to be your best scorer or your best offensive threat. That just cannot happen. So, again, not a great game for Arkansas. They got out-rebounded in this one. They had 11 turnovers in this too. But again, it just really came down to one team hit their shots and the other team didn't. It's the biggest thing. Illinois hit their shots. They hit 15 threes. And if you have 15 threes getting hit by one team and you're missing 11 of your free throws, there lies one of the many problems. But the question becomes, is it time to panic? How do people feel about it? And the answer to me is no. It's not time to panic. It's frustrating. I get it. And I want to win every game just like you all do. Like, I get frustrated when Arkansas doesn't win. Totally. And I think what makes it worse is that the Kentucky faithful is still so obsessed with this that when Arkansas lost, you saw everybody, Kentucky media, Kentucky fans just going nuts. Like, they literally, I think, pleasure themselves to Cal, and anytime he loses, it's that weird. But you're going to have to hear about it anytime it happens. Here's my only thing. Is Arkansas a good basketball team right now? No, they are not. If the NCAA tournament was to start today and Arkansas got in, they would lose more than likely the first round. Like, it's just, that's the reality. But luckily, the NCAA tournament doesn't start in late November. It starts in March. And that's when the winning happens. And that's when the success is happening. But there's a long time. There's a lot of things Arkansas's got to work on. They do not look good. And when you see teams like Auburn, who's a wagon right now, Alabama's done some good things. Tennessee's looking really good. Even Kentucky's look good. Trust me, they will let you know about it too. Like it's a little bit worrisome. Totally understand it. Totally agree. Totally get it. I'm not making excuses for it. This team's got to improve. There's an expectation there, and if Cal doesn't get it done, then that's on him. But I just caution everybody to this one particular thing. Just one. If at the end of the season, you were a bad basketball team with a bad record, you didn't get in the NCAA tournament or whatever it is, then there is plenty of time to get pissed, to get frustrated, and everything to go along with it. Absolutely. But here's the thing. If Arkansas does start to get better and does start to improve and does start to get it going, and they start to put it together and they get it into the NCAA tournament, and they advance and win games in the NCAA tournament, you know what's the one thing you are not going to care about and not going to remember? That Thanksgiving Day when Arkansas lost by 13 to Illinois up in Kansas City. You're not going to remember it. You're not going to care. No one will. No one should. That's the only thing that matters is what you do in March. You got to get there. You got to win games. You got to improve. All of that is 100% true, folks. 100% true. And again, it's okay to be frustrated by it. I am too. But you got to play the long game. You got to look at the big picture. Don't just throw your hands up and be like, this team sucks and they're not any good and they'll never get any better. I mean, they got it, but what makes it worse is you got to hear about it. You got to hear about it from the Kentucky fans because, again, they are obsessed with it. It's just part of it, unfortunately, this year. But if you get it going and you start looking good, start putting the pieces together and start finding out your rotations and finding out who your best five is and find out that consistency and just focus in on that. At the end of the day and at the end of the month, no one's going to care as long as you make it far, as long as you make a run. It's the only thing that matters. So just stick with it. I do want to bring up one thing on Thanksgiving. Just one thing for all you Razorback fans. So stay with us on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, all you Razorback fans, I got to tell you about FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book, especially when it comes to the NFL action. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything that you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get the hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just go to visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I know Thanksgiving happened yesterday, and a lot of you did various things. Some of you watched the Razorback basketball game. Some of you, if not, some of you probably watched the NFL games yesterday, maybe some college football action. And there's a lot of you that enjoyed time with your family. In fact, I went and saw a movie, Gladiator 2, last night with my family. It was actually better than I thought it would be. Not as good as the first, obviously, but better than I thought it would be. But still, we all do things, that traditions and family and all of that stuff, and it's great. But one thing that I always like to reflect upon with Thanksgiving, and using it from the Razorbacks perspective, is that a lot of Razorback fans are upset right now, and there is a disconnect. I sense it, and I know it. There is a disconnect from Arkansas and from the university. It's there. It's prevalent. And there's maybe some reasons for that. And I can point to a few. Obviously, losing. That's the quickest way to do it. And Arkansas had a pretty bad year last year. Football's been okay so far. But basketball has been a little bit disappointing. So it's kind of like, man, when is this misery going to end? When are we finally going to have a good team? Totally understand it. I think that's part of it. But I also feel like it's on the university's doing. I think the university has really separated themselves from a lot of the common fans, whether it's the lack of communication or the poor communication of the NIL and the Arkansas Edge, whether it's, with Cal, as much as I think Cal was a great rock star hire and totally get it, but There's no connection that fans really feel to Cal or any of the players because you never hear from them. You never get to see them. You don't know anything about them. I don't even know what half of them sound like. So you throw that into the mix. Then you throw, the lack of success, obviously, and then the lack of attendance at games for basketball, the setup of student tickets, just the marketing for things. Everything's just feels off. Just feels off. Fully agree with it. I hate it too. It bothers me because it doesn't need to be this way, and it shouldn't be this way, and it needs to get fixed. I would love nothing more than me, myself, to go in there and to try to reconnect the fan base with the program. But even I have felt that here recently. I'm my company Inside Arkansas, and even here on my Locked On Razorbacks podcast, I'm not allowed to cover games. I'm not allowed to get a credential. And it's been disappointing because I've been covering the team and doing it for a long time. And I've always had a good working relationship with those at the U of A who are in that. But they don't want me to. I was there for 7.5 years as a student. And then I was in the student section. I grew up a Razorback fan. Like, I've given so much of my passion and my time and my love to the Razorbacks. And it seems like the university, just me and myself, and I'm not saying I deserve anything, but I felt like they don't want me to be a part of it. They just don't want me around. And it sucks because that's been my number one priority, has been them, been the Razorbacks. And so I feel disconnected at times. And I know you do too, at least some of you. But here's the thing. It made me reflect on that because me as a Razorback fan, growing up there's certain things that you, as in me, can get frustrated by, can be annoyed by, can be disappointed in. Things that you hate as far as coaches you want gone. If you're not happy with the athletic director and the job that he's done, you want him gone. Well, whatever it is. The reason that you do that and the reason you have passion for it is because you want the Razorbacks to succeed. It doesn't matter the man or woman. It doesn't matter who the coach or who the players are. You want that team wearing that Razorback logo to succeed. Nothing else matters. It doesn't matter if you have a coach that's a big jerk or if he's the nicest guy in the world. If he wins, you love him. It doesn't matter if you have players that are from Arkansas or, think that if they think calling the Hogs is weird, or someone who's all in on the culture and all of that. If they win, you love them. Because that's all that matters in the end. It's just loving something that loves you back. And the way that they can love you back is by succeeding and by winning. I know a lot's changed in college sports. NIL is a lot of reason for that. And I get it. It's not the same. It's not what it used to be. But I still continue to look at it as a very simple approach. A very simple way of just, hey, it's not always going to be the way I want it to be. It's not going to go always the way I want it to go. But I still love the Razorbacks. I'm thankful for them, me personally. Not only because I grew up a fan, went to school there, all of that, but without them, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be able to have the number one Razorback podcast in the world. 3 years running now. I wouldn't be able to do Inside Arkansas and be able to talk about it on my live streams and do it with Curtis and Andrew. I wouldn't have it. I owe the Razorbacks that. And it's because I have a passion for it. I love the Hogs, and I always will. That can't ever change. But if the people who are in charge of them aren't doing a good enough job, if they're not doing the things that they're supposed to be doing, then let's find somebody who will. But at the end of the day, I'm thankful for the Razorbacks. I'm thankful for being a fan and being raised a fan, but most importantly, I'm thankful for all of you who listen to my nonsense each and every day. I'll never understand why, but I'm appreciative. So thank you. Thank you to all of you. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at John Nabors Show for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have. We'll keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel next Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you then.